Speaking of PlayStation predictions, 2016. Going through their list of games, we're starting off strong with Amplitude. Fucking finally, it's coming.
It's a very early game.
And it's going to be good. It's going to be real good. Yeah, it's one of those weird crossovers where if you were a Kickstarter supporter, you're getting it in December.
Yeah.
If not, you can get it in January.
Right.
Please go buy that game. Support this.
You're a big Amplitude fan.
Oh, yeah. One of my favorite games of all time. I am so excited for this new one. Every time I've played it, they're nailing it. This is Amplitude. It sounds like Amplitude. It feels like Amplitude. And I'm like, thank you, God. I never thought another Amplitude game would happen.
Sure.
It's so random and niche and just fucking there. But, whew.
It's the opposite of your Tony Hawk dream coming true.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Like they're doing this correctly.
Gotcha.
And it's weird too because Amplitude had licensed music, had Blink-182 and had POD and had all these things. And this one doesn't, which is a little like I wish that they would, because like knowing the songs always makes them funner, or more fun. But I always liked the original songs that were in that game, and all the boss songs, all the really challenging ones, were always made by Harmonix, and this one is just entirely made of that. So I don't know if it's gonna be too much, but so far I've been really into it, and I like that there's a couple of the original songs that are coming back.
Great,
like Super Sprout.
Whoa,
big fan of Super Sprout.
Super Sprout is a freeze pop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, freeze pop's the best.
Freeze pop is the damn best.
Your mom keeps calling.
She does.
Does she want to be part of the show? You can just put her on.
No.
What does she think of Amplitude?
I'm not really
Tell
sure.
me some Amplitude stories about Tim.
No, she would not even, like, she'd be like, is that the Mario? Ratchet and Clank Remastered. Very excited about this game. I played it a little bit at PSX.
What'd you think?
A week ago. I mean, it's great. It's Ratchet and Clank. I've always loved the way Ratchet and Clank feels. The physics are always like right there for me. And just playing with the weapons is fun. It's what I like about 3D platformers. And anyways, Ratchet and Clank always feels exactly how I want it to feel. And that was one of those games where without platinuming it and whatever, I wanted to get all the weapons, and I wanted to max out all the weapons, and I would play and I'd grind just to be able to grind them all out, to maximize all the shit and get up to the levels and stuff. So I'm very excited to go back and do that. Loved the first game. I'm excited to see how this kind of ties in with the movie, and I'm excited to see what the movie does for the franchise. I think this could be a potentially huge thing for Sony, because it's a new push in a direction that I want games to go, and I want, to be a bigger deal. Nintendo's kind of doing it with the whole theme park stuff, and I hope it's a bigger step in making these things huge, like Disney. I like that.
Yeah. No, it's going to be a very fascinating year for Ratchet and Clank.
There's a huge window a gauge, like a meter, where this game can do nothing or this game can do huge.
Yeah.
Depending on the resonance of the movie. Mm-hmm. I do want to encourage people, because everyone's like, we want Insomniac back. Like, we want to, well, you better fucking put your money where your mouth is, because I don't know how many more opportunities you're going to get with Insomniac working with Sony like this again. Mm-hmm. They seem to be going in their own direction and are being courted by publishers. And if you ever want to see like Resistance again done by the studio that should be doing it and stuff like that, then you better buy this fucking game. I mean, that's like my whole thing is you want Insomniac back. You're sad you lost them real long. Put your money where your mouth is. Mm-hmm. If it's good, don't buy it if it's bad. Obviously, it's not gonna be bad.
It's not gonna be bad. I mean, that's the thing is like this is so easy to be good, and it's so hard to fuck up.
Ratchet and Clank's like pizza.
They fucked up Ratchet a couple times.
No, but what I'm saying is like this Ratchet.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's like fucking up a calzone or like taking baked pasta or something. That's like, when they try to get all fucking fancy.
Yeah. That's too much. You're just going too far. Also, very early in the year, we got Street Fighter V.
That's gonna be big.
It's a big deal that it's exclusive.
The Yosh.
Yeah, Sony jumped on this one. This is a very smart and shrewd move and a huge get for them. Mm-hmm. Huge get. I don't think you can underestimate how huge of a get that is for them. They're publishing it, and seems like they funded it, and it's secure. It's not a timed exclusive. It's coming to PC, but it's not going to come to Xbox. I think that's Street Fighter.
And that's crazy.
Street Fighter's
it's
massive.
like that is a big deal, and there's fans of Street Fighter that this is a game changer for them. Of like, if they haven't bought a system yet, this is the system they're going to buy.
Yeah, that's very smart of them to do that. I was very surprised when that happened. Yeah.
Uncharted 4.
I mean, what can you say about it? It's gonna be huge. The game's gonna sell millions of copies.
I'm so excited for it.
Yeah, can't wait. See how it all wraps up. It's crazy. It's the end.
Yeah. So I've heard rumblings. I haven't spoken to you about this, but do you think it's going to get delayed?
Yeah, I mean, that's been my theory for a while. I saw Neil at PSX, and I know
He's so vehement, and every time I talk to him, every interview, every panel, that I'm going to prove Colin Moriarty wrong. I love it.
That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, that's good. That's a good attitude to have.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I hope I'm wrong. I just think that they're going to find that they need more time, and they should take it. Mm-hmm. And they'll get it. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. Like that type of game is, no matter when it comes out, it's going to fucking kill, because everyone's going to buy it. Last Guardian. Do you think we'll see it? Because
Yeah.
the trailer did end 2016.
It's going
They
to come
have to fucking put it out. They can't push that. They can't not do that.
Mhm.
After all this fucking shenanigery, you get to hear
What's that word?
shenanery.
Yeah.
It's a version of shenanigans.
Mm.
But you wanna say
chicanery?
after all the shenanery. Go ahead and put it down. It has to. Yeah, you can't put a date on it and now miss that date.
Yeah.
They know that. They know that too. So they wouldn't have put it out unless they were supremely confident.
No
they're
way.
gonna hit
That's a
it.
summer game, I think.
Horizon.
Zero
Horizon's-
Dawn.
That's gonna be the big fall game, and I think that I think Horizon's gonna be fucking awesome. I'm excited about it. I think that's gonna be a big new IP for them. I really believe that.
Mhm.
I think that's gonna be like a big Uncharted type.
Yeah. No,
IP.
everything we've seen looks awesome. Everything
Yep.
I'm totally in when people talk about it. For me, that's my concern of one getting delayed. That's when I get worried about getting delayed.
If it got delayed, do you think it would get delayed till fall next year?
No,
or
it would
just
be a
like-
spring thing.
Yeah.
It'd be like how Uncharted slipped, and that's where it went. It'd be like when the Order slipped, that's where it went. It would be one of those things where I don't think it's going to be a giant delay, but it feels like that would be
Yeah.
the one of, especially because it's so different. It's so new. You know what I mean? Guerrilla's finally not making a Killzone game. Now they got to get out there and do all this, and like Colin's always talking about it. You know, like we need to see more of that. How does it work? Well, how does this open world RPG work? What are the leveling mechanics like? Where is it? You know what I mean? What is the menu? What does the HUD look like? What does the menu look
Yeah,
like?
there's a ton of beats left, like almost marketing or PR beats that they have to hit with that game, and I think they will, because we don't need to see too much more in terms of gameplay. I think we understand how the game plays. I think we need like all the things that tie the game together, and so I think you're gonna see those things at E3 and stuff. I think you'll see the date at E3. I think it's probably gonna be like October is when you're gonna see Horizon. I don't think it gets delayed.
I hope it
That
doesn't.
game's been in development forever. So
Speaking of that, No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
When do we see it?
when VR launches, well, you have to assume
Did they say summer, or is that another one I've been saying? And now my predictions and my calls to actions, I can't remember
I'm convinced that that's a PSVR launch game.
because I said so.
That was my idea.
No, that
to
was
say
one of my predictions. I'm
And-
allowed to take that one.
And I think you're right. I mean, that's such a no-brainer.
Yeah.
It almost has to be. So June, I think is when VR is going to come out. And
That's what we've been saying, yeah.
yeah.
But I
So we'll
could have
see.
sworn they said a month. Oh, here you go. Since our 3 the game is Here's why you burying the lead. In June 2016, finally this universe. Now, remember this? They announced it at June 2016, so that's when you and I, what we were saying, that's when VR's data will be too.
Got it.
VR maybe May at the earliest, I would say, and then.
Now you put them on
But
day and date.
yeah, I agree. I mean, I think you have to.
And I can't wait for the game.
Firewatch. Finally
Yes.
happening.
Yeah, early in the
Very
year.
stoked for that.
Yeah.
Looks great.
Yeah. Campo Santos, they know what they got, man.
Mhm.
I want to play that one.
Very excited for it. Every time we play it, I've been like, this
Yep.
is fucking cool.
Yeah, that's totally a game where I'm like, I don't need to play it anymore. I
Yeah,
see it at
we
events
know,
and I'm
we're
like, no,
good.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Just fucking put it out, Sean.
Persona 5.
That's a fall game. What I'm most interested with Persona 5 is localization timing, and I'm wondering if the game was actually ready and might be ready, and
And
that
they
they're
want a
actually
worldwide release.
Yeah, I think they'd be very, very foolish to not launch that game worldwide at the same time, which is not something you would typically do with a Persona game, but Persona has significant resonance now.
Yep.
In the West, and I think it's going to sell millions of copies
It's been
in Japan,
bubbling
but
and bubbling, and
Yeah.
now this is the one where it's going to boil over and explode. This
so
is the one.
so I'm kind of somewhat convinced that the game's done, and I think that they're polishing or the game,
Sure.
but that they are localizing, and I think that was probably a push from Sega and Atlas obviously to do that. So that's definitely a 2016 game. I just don't know when. I would just assume October, September, something like that would be smart.
Fall game.
Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth is coming to Vita and PS4. This is a big deal, guys.
Is it?
Because it is. It is. Because it came out in Japan and stuff, and we never really thought we were going to see a North American release. But they made it happen. There was a lot of petitions. People were like, no, we want this shit. And it's coming on Vita and PS4. So that's good.
Okay.
So people are asking if I'm going to play it. I'm definitely going to give this one a
You
shot.
play it on Vita?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All about that Digimon.
All about that Digimon Vita.
Monsters. Yeah.
Digimon.
Yeah, and then Rise of the Tomb Raiders come in eventually, and Day of the Tentacle remastered. All that's great. What other predictions do we have for PlayStation in 2016?
I think PSVR is going to come out. I think it's going to do well. I mean,
You do?
Yeah, I think that they have their target is 1.5 million or 2 million. I think they don't have this like exorbitant target that's going to have an attach rate of one. Like if the console's at 40 million by the time it launches, then the attach rate will be like no more than 1 in 20. And that's going to be pretty successful for them.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing you say you think it's going to do well. I mean, Move did well, right? Like,
I mean, the way they spun it made it sound like it did well. I don't know that it ever had significant resonance, and I think their expectations for Move are longer. This is the first step of a very long game to get these things out there. And like I truly believe, as I said at the panel at PSX, that I think Sony's gonna be very happy that they did this. I think that like it's so obvious that VR is the future. It's so fucking obvious. We're always going to play games with controllers in our hands and look at a TV. I don't think that's going to go anywhere. I think in 100 years, we're going to play games like that. But I think that VR is so obviously the next frontier of video games. I don't understand how anyone can put one of those things on their heads and play some of these games and not understand that. So it's going to be like this slow trickle, but it is going to be a wildfire in 10 years. Like, absolutely. And so Oculus, Facebook, Sony, the studios that like made the bet, I think are going to be very happy they did. And so, yeah, I think it's going to do well. I think it's, if it comes out in June, I think they'll probably hit 1+ million by the end of the year.
I'm just worried about launch lineup. That's it. If it comes out as No Man's Sky and Rez, or one of the two, and then some other cool shit. Eve Valkyrie, yeah. If they can hit it with Eve right away too at launch, then yeah, you're in a great spot. You're putting it on, and you're having experiences that do make you go, holy shit, yes. If it is just Job Simulator, if it is just these little quirky games,
100-foot robot golf.
Yeah, yeah, that zombie taxi driver company or whatever. Like, that's when it's like, that for me is when I see the red flags of Move. When it's like, oh, I'm fucking going down a hill on a chair. Like, no, man, I don't want to play that. But yeah, put me in for Eve Valkyrie. Put me in for No Man's Sky. Let me play Rez at launch. Like,
I mean, that sounds like an incredible launch lineup.
I know, and that's why I don't think it'll happen.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? That's
that
like best case scenario.
Too good to be true.
I know.
Like, that's just.
But
insane.
that's the problem is like, when I was talking to Shuhei both at the panel a little bit, but then in the interview on YouTube.com/kindoffunnygames, I was talking. When is the big reveal for PlayStation VR? When is it like, here's what's happening and why you're excited right now? You know what I mean? I feel like when you put out the little quirky things, it's like, okay, whatever. And there's that, you have to play it to experience it, to know it, to understand. You have to put it on. You have to go do a round of rigs to be like, okay, I could get behind this, or play Rez like I did and be like, holy shit, or play Eve and be like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, is it GDC now where it comes out and here's the date, here's the price, and here's the
launch lineup? Or they're going to do, or I think what's going to happen is they're going to do their own thing and just have a big event in Tokyo. That's going to, they're going to put out invites a week before, fly everyone to Tokyo and be like, this is what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. And here's the launch lineup and here's the price and here's the date, and, go. I mean,
the big thing too is does it come with Move controllers? Like, how does that, like, what are they even doing with that? Cause it's like, that seems like a big deal that all these games have these Move controllers, and who the hell has
that's
these
where
Move
the light with the PS4 controller comes back into play, I think, too. So it's,
you'd think they'd be showing the demo then with a PS4 controller.
I think it's just not going to control as well with the PS4 controller, and I think that's why they're not doing it. The Move's got to go away. So like it's got to go. It can't be a thing anymore. I'm sorry. It's over. I'm calling it. So its time is up.
Time of death, December 13th, 2015, 5:29.
But I do think that they have to emphasize the DualShock 4 more, and not even the light bar on it, but just the analog sticks. Like we're not going to be playing in radically different ways yet. We will. So I think they need to emphasize like the traditional kind of bearings of these games. I just think that there's enough morbid curiosity in PSVR that they sell 1 million like without games. Like I really believe that. Like I think especially if the price is like really appropriate, and I don't know, that's gonna be a big thing. If the price is like $199, which I think is like really low, I don't think it's gonna be that cheap. I don't see why like it wouldn't sell very well. Contextually speaking, I think it's gonna be more like $300 though. So
that's gonna be a story.
They're gonna have to. VR's not cheap, and they're gonna have to.
I get it.
And they're gonna have to either eat shit on it and just take losses, which is gonna impact all of Sony, if they want to push units, which could be that's how a lot of hardware is sold too, or they can sell it at a more appropriate price that might let them break even, $249 maybe. I mean, I don't know. It seems like $200 is like too good to be true. I don't. That would be too good to be true, especially like considering that it's a meaty thing. It feels good. It feels like it's well done. It feels like it's worth more than $200. I don't want to say worth more, but it feels like it's costs more than $200.
Yeah.
It's intuitive and comfortable, and like I was blown away when they finally, with the Rez folks, Mizuguchi's just like, yeah, you want to put it on yourself? I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, oh my god, like, you know what I mean, to do it without like having 4 people come in and lower it on your head, and like, yeah, I was blown away by the build quality of it. I'm super stoked to try it, especially because Oculus for me has always been so heavy up front.
Yeah.
I don't know. VR is going to be the big question. That's going to be the big story in terms of like when we're here next year reviewing, 365, and we're like, well, how did PlayStation do this year? This is going to be the big thing. And like, yeah, I think PlayStation VR and the price point and all that's super interesting. And I do think it's going to, early adopters will be all over it. But the problem is if the launch lineup sucks, it's going to be like Move again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If all of a sudden it immediately backswings and everybody's like, this fucking, I can't believe I spent this much on it. I'm just fucking playing robot golf.
Well, two things. I think that one, your instincts about E3 were right in the sense that I think that a lot of these games like Horizon and stuff are going to be VR compatible. The other thing is that I think that that's going to be their trump card and be like, well, everything is VR. Not everything, but like everything from the first party
Get
is
lost
VR
in your world. Put this,
Yeah.
you don't have a 100-inch screen TV, put this on and like, maybe it is one of those things where it's like your phone where you rotate it. You're not doing 360 with it, you know what I mean, in Horizon. But it is, you look up and you look this or whatever, like there's more screen to, be in there or whatever.
My biggest problem is I love every time I've used it, I've been like, holy shit, like this is impressive. It's crazy. It's you could say religious experience. It is like a holy shit, this is new. But I've used Oculus many times and the build quality isn't there. It is too heavy. Whatever.
And those are just dev kits, not consumer units.
The build quality of the not Morpheus, just PlayStation VR, it's like it is there, but the screen's not that high quality. Like I've still never used it and been like, this looks good. Really? It always looks really. I mean, I know that I'm looking at screens and the 3D. It feels like looking at the original 3DS, but it's slightly off always.
Interesting.
And I don't think like when you're saying, oh, it's just like having a 100-foot screen.
I didn't say just like it, but I'm saying.
But it's like it's kind of like a weird knockoff version, and I don't think they'll ever fix that. Like I don't think we're ever going to hit a point where it's like this is clear and this is a really
I think
good way to look at this.
You should tighten when we get a unit in here one day and you're fucking around with it. Tighten around and screw around with it because like for real, there's been times where I'm playing and things are a little bit that's blurry or whatever, and then it's like, oh, there it is. You know what I mean? Like it's trying to find that sweet spot.
Yeah, it's hard. That's going to be a major thing to get people used to or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not one for gimmicks. I hate gimmicks. I think that they're obvious. I think motion was a gimmick. I think the dual screen thing is a brilliant idea, but even a gimmick in its own right.
3D gimmick.
3D definitely a gimmick. I don't think this is a gimmick. Like I really don't. I think this is really special.
The thing,
and it's not just PSVR, it's just VR generally.
Yeah.
I think it's an Oculus. I think it's just special. I think it works, and I think it's going to be amazing what they can do with this in a few years, even not nonetheless 10 or 20 or 30 years. And the non-gaming applications, I just think I think it just starts as gaming. I mean, I think that there's going to be a real like a day when you use Skype on PSVR. I think there's going to be a day when you can go anywhere in the world on PSVR, go into space on PSVR. I think that it's just, I don't know.
To your point,
special.
What he's saying, like, we were talking about, Horizon, all these games are somehow VR compatible and not the full, I'm using the camera, but it's just taking everything. For me, it's the difference between playing a game out there and checking my phone and Portillo does this or that there. I see car lights outside, you know what I mean? Versus when I was playing Rez, and even before I started looking around, it was just like on headphones and I'm only
immersed,
there.
yeah.
And it's like, sounds so funny of like, well, I could kind of do that here with headphones and this, that, but there's always distractions and all these little things and stuff. And granted, we're all going to look like a bunch of weirdos to our significant others, like egg glued in doing this thing. But like, if I'm playing The Last of Us 2 that way, you know what I mean? And again, not controlling the camera, but I mean just being like, I am there and this is all it is. I feel like everything about games are going to get ratcheted up, even if it's just the same experience we're playing now. No, I'd love to play Gone Home again. I'd love to play it VR-wise, but I would also just love to play it and not have anything else to worry about.
And that makes a lot of sense to me. That's where I come in with the whole, like, the screen needs to be high quality. And so if I fuck with it and it's good, then I'm totally with you. I feel like it's very similar to, like, my Apple Watch, where so many people are like, oh, that's a waste of money. Why would you even need that? How does that change your life? And it's like, it's a fucking watch. Watches are expensive, period. Like, this one tells me there's notifications. I don't need to talk to it like Kevin does. Like, I just like it, and it gives me my notifications in a way that changes things,
Yeah.
But really, I just use it as a watch. But I think that's the same thing there, where it's just like, it doesn't need to change the way you play every video game.
Sure.
It's just another way to play. Yeah, exactly. And like, if it does have that basic thing of every game can be played this way, and it is now a new immersive experience and doesn't add gimmicky bullshit.
Sure.
That is, I think, the game changer.
Sure.
And they need to nail the screen quality. They need to not have it give you motion sickness and shit like that. And that's all gonna be hard shit to do. But if they manage to nail that, that's the difference between it and the Move. Well, oh, the AAA games can use Move, but it's annoying and stupid and no one wants to do it.
It's a BioShock Infinite mode or whatever. Like,
yeah.
Fuck off.
But if this is like, you can play any game with it and it actually isn't a lesser quality experience, it's the same or better because it's more immersive, then I'm in.